Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Accent Training Podcast, a podcast where you train American accent sounds and habits with short and focused audio lessons. Now, our previous two episodes have been covering the sound A. First, we talked about how to make it, then we talked about how to practice it. Today, we're going to talk about idiomatic expressions with the sound A. And we're going to prepare for you to use this in real life and excel in the workplace. So if you hate the American accent and you hate speaking English using the words that Americans use, then you've got to shut this episode off right now, because if you were to listen to this episode all the way through, your ability to hear and use the sounds of English would improve significantly. And if that isn't what you want, I don't want to force it on you. So now you've been warned. Listening to this episode, you're going to learn how to speak English like an American, whether you like it or not. Are we on the same page? Good, because that's the first idiom that I've got for you today. To be on the same page. On the same page. This means to have mutual understanding. Now, I rarely, if ever, hear non-native English speakers use this. But I notice that everybody does understand it. Like whenever I use this with students, I find that most people have no trouble understanding me here. But they wouldn't say it themselves. They would more likely just do a direct translation from their own language and say, "Do you understand me? Do you understand me?" And if you ask someone, "Do you understand me?" your words will come across as very serious sounding. But it's a lot friendlier and at the same time professional sounding to say, "on the same page." Are we on the same page here? Very good. Now the next idiom here is one that a lot of you will appreciate: to stay ahead of the game. Stay ahead of the game. To be proactive or prepared. You're listening to this episode because you're a proactive person. You want to be prepared for your English speaking. You're trying to stay ahead of the game. So for example, suppose you work on a presentation all weekend. You'd say, "I spent my whole weekend preparing this, just to stay ahead of the game." You know, you took time while everybody else was out partying or relaxing. You focused and you got work done and you managed to stay ahead of the game. Again, this is better than saying, "I am working proactively to prepare myself." Doesn't sound fun. Doesn't sound interesting. But I'm working hard to stay ahead of the game. I'm working hard to stay ahead of the game. That's how Americans speak. And you can do it too. And so I want you to develop phrases that use that idiom and then apply it so that you're speaking with Americans the way that they listen for. This isn't a time to play it safe, all right? This isn't a time to play it safe. We don't want to avoid risks. Play it safe. Play it safe. 2 A's in that idiom, right? If you play it safe, as I just said, you are avoiding risks or uncertainty. If you were to play it safe with your English speaking, you might not use any idioms. You might not try to develop new communication habits. You would just do a direct translation all of the time from your native language into English, and it wouldn't sound so natural, like what you're working for. So you don't want to play it safe with your English. You want to take some risks, because risks pay off. Risks pay off. There's a payoff when you stay ahead of the game and you don't play it safe. A payoff. Now, this is our fourth idiom here today. This is to say that something will result in success. It will result in benefits. It's going to pay off. The actions that you're taking, which may not yield results immediately, that's what I find with accent training. People give up when they don't see results immediately. And I'm like, all right, you probably weren't that dedicated in the first place, right? It's about the long-term payoff, So with accent training, you're here right now because even though this isn't going to pay off immediately, but it may pay off in the next couple days. If you practice these idioms, I guarantee you it's going to pay off within the next week or two. Your actions will result in success and benefit. There's a payoff. So now what can you do to make that payoff happen? How can you avoid playing it safe? How to stay ahead of the game so that you're on the same page as everyone else with your English speaking? Well, my friend, you need a game plan. A game plan. That's right. A detailed strategy for success. And another great idiom for us to practice right now. Maybe you've got a board meeting coming up that you're going to have to speak at. And you're working on something with a team to be presented at the board meeting. And you walk in and you say, all right, so what's the game plan for this board meeting? It's like asking, how are we going to handle this situation? What's the plan? What steps are we going to take to cover ourselves here? What's the game plan? The game plan. It's taking things beyond the practice. This is the plan for the big game, and you're the first up to play. So what's the game plan? That's the game plan, my friends. That's the game plan. Now, there are tons of idioms using the A sound. Let's run through them once again, and then we'll wrap it up for today. On the same page. Stay ahead of the game. Play it safe. Payoff. Game plan. Now, for those of you who've listened all the way to this point, I'm glad that you've taken the time to hear all the way through. I appreciate the dedication that you've shown here today, and the fact that you've listened to this all the way through tells me that you are now ready to start applying these. Pick one or two of that we discussed today. Prepare some real-life phrases where you could picture yourself using them. Step out into the world and apply what we've trained here today. Have a good one, folks. Hey guys, looks like you made it all the way to the end of the lesson. You are the true 1%ers of accent training. Look, I know 1%ers who can make it halfway through a lesson, but making it all the way through, you guys are the best. And so I'd like to ask you specifically a question. Is it a priority for you to express yourself in English just as clearly and confidently as you do in your native language? Well, my friend, you're in luck. I have positions available for accent training, and I'm looking for the 1%ers who want to train hard to develop their English speaking for key professional interactions and networking. Now, you're thinking, I really want to train with this guy, and so I need to connect with you. Down below, there's a description box on this podcast episode. There's a link in it that says, Coach with me one-on-one. If you fill out the application there and I see that I can help you, my team will reach out to you in the next 24 hours. You can tell me what you need help with, what your goals are, and we're going to crush it together, my friend. I would love to see you get to the next level professionally. I know that you want the same thing, and I'd love to go with you on that journey. So right now, if you want to partner up with me, if you want to team up with me and go to the next level, I want you to go to the description box below right now, click on the link, fill out your information, and we'll talk to you in the next 24 hours. Let's do this.